How to overcome buyers' objections. Click here the subscribe button, set up the alert. If you like this video, click the like button. Here's what really works to overcome objections, right? The first thing, and again, we keep coming back to points that seem to be very obvious, but like anybody who ever practiced sports knows, you always go back and work on the fundamentals. That's how you always make sure that it's hardwired in the brain. So we need to do a bit of the same here in business. So it's important to overcome the buyer's objection. First thing is important to be on their shoes, right? Understand from their standpoint what's going on. We should not be giving them more than one thing to do. Like, right? Remember, especially for our buyers, a larger company, remember that this person that we have an opening now that we're having the conversation, this buyer that may be coming with an objection, their job is to turn around and sell internally to other peers, other people in the structure, other people that may influence the decision that we are the best suppliers, they should be going ahead with us. So we should stay really focused on making their life easy to buy from us. So try to be on their shoes and don't try to give them too many things to do, too many points to convince too many people. It's pretty hard. They're going to start to look and say, hey, this supplier seems nice, everything, good value proposition, but seems that it will be too much work. I will spend too much political capital to convince my colleagues internally to bring them on board. Not going to do it. So it's like we need to show that we really understand and that we commit to make their life easier. It's like, okay, who else needs to be involved? What are the other things that are taken into consideration? What are all the other things that we need to look at to make sure you can bring us on board as a supplier, and that's going to work well in all dimensions in your company? There is a very implicit trust that's kind of intangible as well, which is trust is a universal thing needed to do business anywhere, but trust is established in different ways depending on the place. So for you, trust may be evident due to a few facts when you're positioning yourself as a supplier, right? Oh, we're very resourceful. We get results in very dynamic environments, especially if you are an entrepreneur coming from an emerging markets. That's typically the way to think. It's like, yeah, we give you a problem. We're very creative at finding a solution, right? Resourcefulness may be, in your opinion, what drives trust. Okay, if I have a resourceful supplier, I'll be taken care of, because no matter what life throws at us, my supplier is going to find a way. Versus sometimes you may be thinking that it's a high specialization technically that's going to be creating this trust, like a very highly technical value proposition. Oh, we are really good at doing this. Wonderful. If that is also what is important to your client. Because if it's not, if I'm really good at this, but my client is interested in something else, it's like they're not going to go out of their way to say, wow, if you're really good at this, then you must be good at that. They're not going to make that inference, right? And that raises all sorts of objections, or it doesn't help make the current objections they have go away. So for our Canadian counterparts, trust is typically achieved through a few ways. First, show that you have a well-structured operation. It's not only about the quality of the product or the service that you're selling, but are your materials professional? How does your website look? Is like all your request, your proposal came in a very nice package, very well-structured, well thought about? How easy it is to get a hold of you, like the quality of, even like many of us are not using business cards anymore, but like think about the quality of your LinkedIn page, for example. It's like, is your operation well structured? That will give people peace of mind and will reduce the level of objections they have. They say, well, they look okay. Look, they are well structured. Okay, check. They won't be bothering you for things and say, well, what about this? What about that? The other thing is like, do you meet requirements of multiple stakeholders? Remember, especially if your potential client here in Canada is a larger company, the person that you're talking to may not be the only and the final decision maker. They may need to get inputs from several people. Are you meeting the requirements of all these different influencers in the decision? That's really important to know. So it comes back to our original side, which is be on their shoes, right? Like when we were talking in the beginning of this video. have to be on their shoes by understanding who they need to convince so they can buy from you. We need to be very mindful that if we only focus on the quality and the excellence of the value proposition of the product or service that we sell, but these other requirements that they start to ask us that sound like objections, we brush them off and say, yeah, no, but what about, but focus on the product. But we may induce them to believe that it will be too much trouble to deal with us. They say, well, yeah, I kind of like your product, but you didn't give me a good material. You didn't give me the good explanations. When I asked you about your insurance policy, you didn't have one or whatever, like all these things. So, and the result of all these combined is limited growth for your business, because if it's hard to make sales, even when you have the right product, the right service that meets a very specific need that you know the market has, but if these other things around the, let me call the packaging of your product, is not compelling to the buyer, they may not buy, right? Or they may take them longer to convince people internally. So that limits your growth, right? So to help your buyers overcome objections, one option you have is to come on board our platform here, Your Business in Canada. You go through the process, we go through the process with you, and you are also around people that are in the similar situation, like also growing their business in Canada. A complaint that I receive is like people think about the buyers, they say, hey, they don't seem to be thinking. I'm proving to them here why it's good to buy from us, and they're coming up with all these irrelevant reasons why they're not buying. It's like they don't seem to be thinking, right? We have a great value proposition, and we're talking to a client that sees the value. That's great. We have a great value, and they see the value. But sometimes they seem to believe that although I have a good solution, but they may keep raising points that are true, but weak, irrelevant, in my opinion. I may think, oh, yeah, that's true. We don't have an insurance policy, but what does that have to do with anything? They should still buy because my product is great. So they don't seem to be thinking like, oh, why are they coming up with these weak reasons? Or why they're getting hung up on administrative or bureaucratic matters. Say, yeah, you don't have this piece of paper, or you don't have that certification. Oh, no, but our practices, come visit my factory. Our practices are even better than the certification. That's not the point. There is a joke among business people that buy software that they say nobody ever got fired by hiring IBM, right? And why? Because it's the most reputable company back in the day, right? So if people would look and say, yeah, if it's IBM, like I'm the buyer and I sign by IBM and something goes wrong, say, well, what would I have done? I hired IBM. It was the best option. Versus somebody decided to go with a very innovative startup that was not well known around. Something goes wrong. It's like, okay, who had the bright idea to, instead of hiring IBM, hiring this very innovative thing, but without a good structure? So we have to think about that, right? Really, what's going on, right? The sides, you as a seller and the buyer, the two sides are looking from different assumptions, from different standpoints. You are both looking at the same thing, but you're interpreting in opposite ways. They may be thinking, I need something because I need to convince people that you have the right corporate structure. And you may be thinking, you're just creating trouble and unnecessarily and coming up with excuses. It's not that. If we align the view, then you say, oh, okay, you need this because you need me to help you do your internal sale. That's great. So the must-haves and the nice-to-haves, they may have different weights sometimes. Sometimes for you, it may be just nice to have. Oh, yeah, it would be nice if I had this. And for them, it may be a must because they say, well, we really need this. Or it's not even me. I don't know why HR is saying that you need to have these type of training policies with your staff. Otherwise, I can't let them into my plant. So to help buyers overcome objections, again, we have our platform here, Your Business in Canada. We'll guide you through the process, and you're going to follow that path together with other people that are in a similar journey.